This is an initial inspection of a Johnson Valiant transmitter. A friend of mine just picked this up at an estate sale. He got a really good deal on it. It has been sitting for quite some time, but this is a factory built Valiant. Well worth restoring. Alright, looking at the back side, you can see the power cord has seen better days. It's all rotted. Transformers have rust on them. The chassis is grubby, but it'll clean up. This one is a factory built unit. You can tell by the pop rivets that they used to hold the tube sockets. It is complete with all the tubes. Unfortunately, it still has those 866 rectifiers, which I'll be removing and replacing with 3B 28 tubes. The rest of it looks pretty good. Let's take a look underside. Here's the bottom side of the Valiant. She looks pretty clean. Those old original paper caps are still installed. The high voltage caps, however, have been changed. This is not how Johnson did it originally. Has that old push-to-talk relay that puts about 200 volts on your microphone. But the good thing is I do not see any arcing back here in the coupling and the rear of the band switch, which is a really good sign that it has not been abused. So what I'm going to do before I apply power is get these old paper filter caps out of here, put in some fresh, install some 3B28 rectifiers, and then I'll give her an initial power up. But this should be a great Valiant for the guy when I get it complete. Alright, here's an update on the Johnson Valiant project. I've changed out the filter capacitors. High voltage caps have been changed with a pair of F&T 100 microfarad. Here's the old ones that were pulled. Low voltage power supply, pair of Nishikon 450 volt 22 microfarad, which replaced this old wax cap. And then for the negative voltage, I have a pair of 400 volt 22 microfarad caps, which replaces this old toilet paper roll. So now the Valiant is safe to turn on and test the power supplies. So the safest way to initially bring up one of these transmitters after you've done power supply work is to use a variac. Alright, so we're going to power the Valiant up slowly, and at this point I'm monitoring the negative voltage and the low voltage supply. So you're going to see about 280 volts here and around 350 volts here. I'm going to start bringing up the variac. I do not have the high voltage switch on. We're just checking these two low voltage supplies. I'm also monitoring the current on the variac to make sure I don't see any funny spikes. So I'm up to 70 volts applied. We should start seeing some activity on the meters. Here we go. Sorry about the glare. One-man show here. I'm up to 90 volts. So you see we do have the low voltage DC and the negative voltage present. There is a little over 100 volts applied. So I'm happy to see that those power supplies came up. That means the filament circuits is working, and of course it means the tubes are good for the power supply. Next step, we're going to check the high voltage. I have these two leads isolated from the chassis right now. We're going to bring it up on the variac, and I'm going to monitor one of those leads to ground, and we're just looking for the presence of high voltage so that I know the plate transformer is good. So to test the high voltage, we're monitoring the secondary of the plate transformer. So you're going to see AC volts rather than DC volts because we are not rectifying it. Now to turn on the plate, there is a relay hidden under here, and I'm going to press that relay with this plastic wand, and when I do, you see about 135 volts there, right? I'm only applying 10 volts AC just to verify the high voltage is working. I'll move my meter over to the other side of the transformer. We should see the same thing. So the plate transformer is working, it's not shorted. More than likely this Valiant is going to work. So as well as changing the high voltage filter caps in the Valiant, I installed a D-Lab K1 push-to-talk module. This replaces the old open frame relay system that Johnson used. This relay utilized a voltage divider off of the low voltage DC supply in the Valiant, so you had approximately 180 volts DC going to the switch contacts in your mic. The D-Lab system does the same job, but it only puts 16 volts into your microphone. A much safer system. Okay, it's test time for the Valiant. I've installed a nice new set of 3B28 rectifiers, changed the 18K resistor in the VFO, verified other tubes are good. The radio is ready for a run. Well, here's that barn find Johnson Valiant transmitter. I'm getting ready to test it after replacement of power supply caps and a few bad tubes. So first, check our grid. Plenty of grid drive. We do have push to talk installed. There's my plate, putting out about 100 watts. And there is my static modulator current. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's take a listen on the R2000. LL 1, 2, 3, 4. LL 1, 2. Getting a little feedback. So I'll move away from that R2000 so we don't get so much feedback. LL 1, 2, 3, 4. LLN6TLU testing the Johnson Valiant. The old dusty radio lives again.